Imagine if your current condition didn't have to be your future disposition. In today's message, taken from the book of Acts, the 3rd chapter, verses 1 through 10, I'll be sharing a short story about a man who experienced this fact firsthand. If we're meeting for the first time, I'm Donnice Tabor, pastor of Divine Church located in Metro Atlanta, where we simply believe it's all about His will, His way, His word. Let's now receive this short inspirational message. Your current condition doesn't have to be your future disposition. The book of Acts, chapter 3, verses 1 through 10. Now Peter and John went together into the temple at the hour of prayer, being the 9th hour. And a certain man lame from his mother's womb was carried, whom they laid daily at the gate of the temple, which is called Beautiful, to ask alms of them that entered into the temple. Who, seeing Peter and John about to go into the temple, asked at alms. And Peter, fastening his eyes upon him with John, said, "Look on us." And he gave heed unto them, expecting to receive something of them. Then Peter said, "Silver and gold have I none, but such as I have I give unto thee. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, rise up and walk." Then he took him by the right hand and lifted him up, and immediately his feet and ankle bones received strength. And he, leaping up, stood and walked and entered with them into the temple, walking and leaping and praising God. And all the people saw him walking and praising God. And they knew that it was he which sat for alms at the beautiful gate of the temple. And they were filled with wonder and amazement at that which had happened unto him. And for a point of emphasis in your hearing again, verses 2 and verse 8. Verse 2, and a certain man lame from his mother's womb was carried, whom they laid daily at the gate of the temple, which is called Beautiful, to ask alms of them that entered into the temple. And lastly, verse 8, and he, leaping up, stood and walked and entered with them into the temple, walking and leaping and praising God. Here in this text, we are introduced to an unidentified man who has a dilemma. He has a problem. He's burdened down. He's in a daily cycle, and it seems impossible for him to get out of. Nevertheless, somehow, some way, he's found daily outside the temple, the house of God. He's, in other words, outside the church. He starts out in verse 2 lame, but some 6 verses later, he's found leaping. I declare to each of you watching today, your current condition doesn't have to be your future disposition. Just as this man in this text, all of us for the past 4 months have found ourselves dealing with some unforeseen circumstances. A global pandemic called COVID-19 is rapidly spreading throughout the world. And as if that were not enough, the global unrest that has flared up all across the globe. During these perilous times, we must remember, just as this unidentified man condition changed, so can yours. So many of you may be wondering, Pastor, what can I do to assist myself, therefore increasing my chances of a better outcome than my current state? I say to you, position yourself. Position yourself closer to God, just as this man somehow knew to get the help he needed. He realized he needed to be found in the presence of God. Once in the presence, we must be willing to ask for help and be open to receive the actual assistance we need. The man in our text today asked Peter and John for money, when really what he needed was mobility. Remember now, he started out in verse 2 lame, but some 6 verses later, he's found leaping. In closing again, I declare to you in the name of Jesus, your current condition doesn't have to be your future disposition. Your current condition doesn't have to be your future disposition.